Sup, my name is Ray for the Yugioh Council. These are the top 10 meta decks, and this is a countdown list. So if you don't agree with my list, this is my opinion, then make sure to sound off in the comments below. Now, I have Infernoid at my number 10 spot, mainly because it gets checked really easily with Fossil Dyna and Kaiku. Now, some of you are going to disagree about Fossil Dyna and Kaiku and say, well, we have this and that to get over it. Well, with the new card that's coming in the same set that Infernoids are getting support, Moon Mirror Shield, it pretty much makes that irrelevant, so we can go either way about this argument. But we're not here to argue. The main reason they're number 10 is because of the fact that, again, Kaiku, Thoughts 9, they're a great deck, don't get me wrong. I do think they have potential like No Tomorrow to be tier 1, and I would have put Ignites at the number 10 spot and then move like Infernoids down a little bit, but Ignites just don't have everything yet, and I think we're going to have to get out of Nationals before we see anything from Ignites really topping. So, Infernoid are number 10 for their ability to control the opponent's graveyard, their ability to just curb stomp the opponent with OTKs, and just come out of nowhere like bat out of hell. But that's why it's also kind of easy for the deck to really just be stopped, and I've proven that before. Kaiku, Fossil Dyna, Vanity's Emptiness, lose one turn. These are common checks that are going to take them out. And like it or not, it is pretty damn bad that that's a thing. So, moving on to the number 9 spot, I have Ritual Beast. They've been topping even without Tempest. Again, you could just pretty much summon Kaiku and wall them, because then they can't banish out. I believe that should be how it plays out. But you know, they're a great deck. They have the ability basically to just spam out monsters, go into their fusions, and just power everything. They're also getting supporting crossover souls. So everything on this list is pretty much getting support in some shape or form in crossover souls. So ritual beasts are just great for that. You know, that whole freaking fusion spam. They're just amazing. I love them. The ability to basically take a search, then go into attack, and then go defense, it's just hilarious. There's no other deck quite like Ritual Beast that has the ability to do that, not even Shaddoll's, even with their flexibility. And when I first saw Ritual Beast, my one thought was, this isn't going to become meta, it's going to be great, but then I figured out it was Infinity 2.0 with all the loops, so then that became a whole nother funny thing, so. If you have yet to play against Ritual Beasts and you disagree, they're pretty much Infinities 2.0 in the fact that they can endlessly loop and endlessly spam. So that's something you got to keep in mind. They're easy to check, but you still got to keep in mind they have that ability. My number 8 pick is something that many of you hate, is Yosenju. And the reason I put Yosenju here and not Volcanics here is just for the sheer fact of lose one turn. I'm not sure how popular it's going to be or how many MST are going to be ran. So it's in between Volcanics and Yosenju for the 8 spot, but I gave it to Yosenju just mainly because they did not top last format as much as everyone expected them to. And I think this is going to be the case 2.0. You know, this is going to just happen again. Lose one turn is amazing for the deck, don't get me wrong. But it's also very easy to play around if you're smart enough. It's not that hard. It really isn't. And Yosenju are kind of vulnerable to things like Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, and soon to be Air Force. Which I know many of you are probably going, well, why the hell would you want to just send them back up to the hand? Well, you can Mind Crush them. That's also why. So that's also something they're pretty weak to, and that's why I just had to give it at the number 8 spot. I know pretty much they have better matchups than Volcanics, but I just see Volcanics being a little bit superior because we can actually judge pretty much what will happen with Volcanics. Either they'll still be played or some kind of hybrid will be born, something along those lines. I just see it happening. So at the number 7 spot, obviously, is Volcanics. I was in between Volcanics and Yosenju for this spot. I wasn't too sure exactly where to put Yosenju on this list, but again, lose one turn is just something I'm not completely sold on yet to be utterly just game defying against everything in the meta. So Volcanics, at least I know what they do. They're quite fucking annoying when it comes to shit because they could just wipe your board. I know people don't understand that whole concept. This is the same thing as Hat, where they take out all your resources. And when they take out all your resources, it's going to be a pain in the ass to make a comeback. Now, the only thing that many of you just don't like Volcanics is because you think they're easily stopped. Me personally, I think it's the other way around. I think with a good side deck and the hybrids they carry, if people would actually utilize that a lot more, then people would see the potential completely. But I'm a player who believes in potential more than anything. So with that said, let's move on to number 6 spot. And my number 6 spot is Cleforts. I did not really. I'm still not really too keen on Cleaforts. Now, the one reason I put Cleaforts here before anything else is because of the potential of Ignites being fused in with Cleaforts as a deck. Killafort, Cleaforts, however you want to say that. If you put Ignites with them, Ignites can do all the searching, decked in like a motherfucker, and then you do the Cleafort Scout, and then it just allows you to spam out everything. And when you go for the scales, obviously you're going to be forced just to summon Cleaforts, but that's fine because you went through half your deck, so pretty much everything you get in this situation becomes a top deck where you could just utilize it against your opponent. Your deck becomes 8 times faster, which means that Cleaforts have that slower setup. They lose that slower setup, and they're able just to do what they mainly came out to do. How consistent is it? Should be pretty damn consistent considering all the ways you could search out the Ignites, because two of them keep going and just go from there. Now, I'm not the most experienced with Cleaforts, but I do know their potential, and lose one turn is also something that they could pretty much play just by dropping a normal summon, and they have their own version of Skill Drain. So these are two definitely things that Cleaforts may get back in power if the players so decide to use it. But at my number 5 spot, I'm putting Burning Abyss. I'm not big on Burning Abyss because for me, it's a very easy matchup. They play super defensive, they have a lot of resources. If I drop Dark Law, I'm going to end this. If I drop Fossil Dyna, they can't special. And if they can't special, they're going to try to jump over. And with Moon Mirror Shield now, it becomes I'm going to be saying that a lot in the next couple of videos. It becomes a lot easier for me. But I know for everyone that's not the case. Burning Abyss are still amazing. I'm still interested as hell. I doubt it, though, to see people just use a new fusion, drop Blazeman, search Polymerization, drop Polymerization. Hell, you could put Miracle Fusion in there and get the Dark One just for extra OTK enabling, which is hilarious when you think about all the things you could do with just one card. I mean, it's not even that hard. You could just splash in Armageddon Knight for an extra Rota Search and go from there, but maybe I'm overthinking it, and maybe the full potential of the fusion just isn't there. Which kind of makes me a little bit sad, because at the same time, if the fusion was able to be used a little bit more, then BLS would be one hell of a thing. But Burning Abyss are still a threat, regardless of the ability to side against them so easily. So I'm not going to talk about them any further. I'm going to go on to my number 4 spot. My number 4 spot being Elemental Heroes / Mask Heroes. Now, some of you claim in the last video, I'm going to go over this real quick, that there is no system recovery for heroes. There is. It's called, I forgot what exactly the name. See, I'm forgetting now. It's Mass Charge. Basically, it allows you to grab a hero and a Mass Change. There's also Miracle Fusion, so you can make plays. You can go into Shining, and then Shining dies, you're going to get 2 heroes back. They do have recovery. If they have nothing, they drop Bubble Man, draw 2, and the hop deck situation into a road or something else is going to be amazing. The deck can easily spam out Exciton Knight and just take care of a lot of fucking threats. But a lot of people just want to disregard it because of the pure hate that they have for heroes. Hell, there's a lot of decks here on this list I hate, but I will never take things away from the deck itself because I don't like it. I will always just point out this is why they're so freaking good. But a lot of people just want to blind hate because, hey, it's fucking heroes. I can't blame you in the end of the day. But you know what? Heroes pretty much have great matchups across the board, and many of you can care to disagree. That's fine. That's your judgment call. But for all the things you will say I can make the comebacks, you can too. But heroes allow for app 0 drops with acid, so they have their own version of a Heavy Storm and a Raigeki in a bottle that they pull out of their extra deck. Also, they have great recovery because of Miracle Fusion, Bubble Man, and Mass Change. They also have a quick start and quick lead because of the Hero Lives, Goblinberg, and Summoner Monk. Allows you access into Shadow Mist, which means searching and Dark Law turn 1 is pretty much relevant and a thing that will happen. And for those of you who say, but there's so much monster removal, that's why we play Forbidden Lance. Forbidden Lance should be played. If you don't like MST, Forbidden Lance is great for that because, well, when they try to Raigeki you or Book of Moon you can just negate it out. But Ryu, there's Denko Sekka. Denko Sekka could be handled 20 other which ways, and I've been saying that for the longest time, but people just don't want to listen. So I'm going to move on to my number 3 spot. And my number 3 spot is another one of those situations, as with Volcanic, Senju for me, is I don't know which way it's going to sway, so right now I'm just going to say Satellar Knights at number 3. Now, why Stat Knights at 3? And maybe you'll call them Linear Knights. That's cool. They have the ability to go into their monsters a lot easier with the Star Seraphs. Number one. Number two, I believe Constellar Diamonds coming in the following set, Crossover Souls. I will correct myself if I am incorrect on that fact. And if that's true, then the Shaddoll matchup becomes that much easier for them to actually play against. And then basically, hey, everything gets banished. Now, the ability to search so fucking much and sit on 5 back row I hear is pretty damn popular outside of Necrots and sometimes Shaddolls. So utilizing that back row in a key way is pretty much what's going to win you the game 90% of the time, because you just summoned a Neb, go into it. Yeah, we know, we get it, we get how it works for you. It's fucking boring. That's what many people say. But you can't take away how good a deck is because it's fucking boring. I won't lie, I don't like playing against the Stellar Knights because I like player interaction. I like big boss monsters flying on the board sometimes, and other times I don't. So I like getting the best of both worlds, in all honesty. But in all seriousness, Stellar Knights are great. They deserve the number 3 spot or number 2. I'm kind of undecided on there. Number 2 spot's definitely Shaddolls for me, because Necrots are just going to be what's, tier 1 for a while. I think Shaddolls are great at number 2. They work for me being at number 2. No, in all seriousness, the flexibility between builds and just not being so linear when you build them is what makes people like them so much. Now, they have their own MST, they have their own bouncing monsters, their own way of drawing more shit, and they have constructs. They have Winda, they have the Earth one, whose name I can't pronounce, and they have like 6 ways of dropping a fusion. If that doesn't scream meta, I don't know what the fuck will. But in all seriousness, just the main fact that when a Shaddoll dies, it gets you back the Shaddoll fusion. It still keeps them so relevant. And I called it when this format started. Shaddolls were going to be a thing because of Star Seraphs, because they were untouched by the ban lists, and because when you leave something unchecked for so long, and we've seen this before when Lightsworn, the first time Lightsworn was truly meta and took over a whole format by itself, is pretty much what we're starting to see with Shaddolls. Now, they're not taking over the entire format by themselves, but they're still impacting pretty damn strong. So, number 1 spot, Necrots. You're not going to get much better than Necrots, because Necrots are always adapting. The players are brilliant with the way they adapt. And when did you ever think you were going to see a ritual deck, in all seriousness, take over 2 formats? If there's a deck that's going to win Nationals, I think it's going to be Necrots, because it's pretty much what everyone's going to be playing, unless we see something else. But I have another video coming out just for the US Nationals, and basically the meta breakdown, what I think will be played there, and then we'll have a post video on it, because that's something I want to get back to, is talking more about the competitive scene. I think many of you enjoy that. So definitely something that's going to be coming to the channel a little more often. So if you're into that, definitely going to be a thing. And I'm always looking for more people to be part of the discussion, so get in the discussion, let me know you want to be a part of it, and I'll tell you how we can make it work. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this top 10 countdown of the top 10 meta decks, and I will catch you on the next video. I'm ready for the Yugioh Council. Rate, comment, subscribe, and sound off in the comments and tell me your top 10 meta decks. I'll see you next time. Peace.